r/AskReddit. If 2012 started like 2020 has so far, how much more would people have believed it was the end of the world? Everyone would have thought it was the end of the world. The way people are reacting to it now this year would be turned up 100x back in 2012. All of the streets would be entirely empty.
People have been thinking it's the end of the world since the beginning of the world. They're gonna continue to do so until they're right.
They just flipped the 1 and 2. The world actually ends in 2021.
The Mayans just got their math wrong and forgot to carry the 1.
Fun fact: it is the year 2012 in the Ethiopian calendar.
There probably would have been that one guy who would begin to build a second version of Noah's Hecker big boat.
I would have finally asked her out. And died knowing I am not worth it, rather than thinking I am not worth it.
People will think every new year is the end of the world regardless of the good or bad.
Probably a lot.
The 2012 prophecy is still true, it was just the beginning of a new age.
Bad calendar conversion is all. 2020 is the real number for 2012.
Oh snap, I never thought of this. That's wild. I bet that guy who predicted it is just saying, oh, I was just off by 8 years. Minor calculation error.
If you look at the global impact COVID-19 has had, consider the destruction in Australia from historically unprecedented wildfires, look at the things that are happening throughout the world due to climate change, and then see what the United States elected as president. One might understand how someone could come to the conclusion that these were the end times. At least, things are as catastrophically bad now as they have been in living human memory. Lost from living human memory is the impact of World War I and World War II, for the most part, certainly the Spanish flu and cholera, and basically every other horrible thing that has happened in the last 150 years or so. We survived those things. We will survive COVID-19.
I was one of those people who was on the fence in 2012. I thought the whole thing was super interesting and was genuinely excited to see what if anything would happen come December 21st, 2012. Obviously nothing of note did. If 2012 had started off even remotely similar to how this year has been, oh, I'm sure I would have gone full on the end is nigh.
Mucho. I am inclined to believe the end of the world did in fact happen in 2012, and we're currently in heck.
Well, just take 2020 and amp reactions up by 100%. I was already terrified as a kid laying in bed at my grandmother's house listening to the news station in the other room. I can imagine how it would have impacted me mentally seeing worse reactions from people I believed had self-control. Why 2012? I remember when everyone was worried about the impending Y2K apocalypse that was supposed to befall the human race on New Year's. Anyone remember that? All we kept hearing about back then in the months preceding was Y2K this, Y2K that. People were literally building bunkers in their bats. Can you imagine if all the crap we've experienced just in the first 3 months of 2020 happened in January 2000 just as everyone was coming out of the Y2K scare?
Literally everyone would have gone berserk at this point. Shops would be raided, cults would form trying to save people from the end of the world. We would have gone Mad Max at this point.
Considering in 2012 I was smoking a quarter of medical-grade marijuana a day and spent all my free time watching conspiracies that I wholeheartedly believed because of a constant state of paranoia, yes.
Ominous music playing, maybe it was the end of the world and we've been living in purgatory for the last 8 years.
Oh dude, we'd actually be fudged. Like there's already but hysteria with just little things happening. Imagine if it happens before December 21st of 2012.
Maybe some people wouldn't respect quarantine because, well, we are going to die anyway, so live your life accordingly, and it would be actually worse.
Definitely way more. Oh, the cults would be drinking bleach.
I would argue people would collectively crap themselves. If you want to have some fun, I would recommend looking up Baba Vanga's predictions for 2020. They are pretty eerie, but a fun rabbit hole nonetheless.
What is the significance of 2012?
Most reasonable people on the planet put zero stock in that 2012 crap and know the world can end any second. There are lots of those walking around.
Humans dying wouldn't be the end of the world. Unless someone died on the big red button.
The virus wouldn't spread that much because of people actually locking themselves in.
About tree fiddy.
Religious folks are still cuckoo. The aunt I live with swears that this virus was predicted in the Bible. She claims that in all the years that men have hunted and gathered, never had there been an event in which a virus jumped from animal to men. She claims it is the end of times and that God is punishing us. When I cited the Black Plague, the pox, Ebola, AIDS, SARS, etc., she asked how can I prove those?
All of us.
I know that I would, I do.
I think the believers would start rioting the streets and preaching the end times while the rest of us would do the same as we are now, staying inside on the computer or a game console plus online school and or work. Maybe the prophet who said 2012 actually meant 2021 HES just dyslexic AF.
The Aztecs were fudging re-rumble hashtag AWAKENMYMASTERS.
It makes me wonder what 2028 would be like.
I feel like a lot of people would panic, but of course some would be idiots. My family never believed the world is ending thing, and so I was led to think the same. If COVID-19 was in 2012 instead of 2020, people would still ignore the rules, panic, but buying, going outside because we are young so it doesn't apply to us, and meeting up in groups. Many would believe though, which would induce even more global panic than with our coronavirus now. Panic buying would be even worse, and I think toilet rolls would become extinct in their natural habitats and become indigenous only to rich houses.
Nobody would have bought more toilet paper than they need for a year.
This truly is the year of hindsight, as in what the fudge were we thinking, letting our healthcare system and our economy stretch so thin that 1 month of immobility destroys the entire economy.
I know I would have believed it.
2012 was so crap about the ending world.
90% of the world caused tinfoil hat squad strong.
Maybe I could have gotten laid.
This is real life, one planet amongst billion trillions. We invented the timeline, not the universe. Crap has been happening on this planet well before we evolved to this point to remember. Crap has been happening just as bad in the past couple hundred years, we just couldn't as easily detect and blog about it. I will not worry about something I can't control, there's no point. Do you know that in our calendar, Ethiopian calendar, this year is 2012? I think the thing that said the World WWAS gonna end in 2012 WWAS actually dyslexic and meant to say 2021.
At least 2.
The world actually ended in 2012. We've been in heck ever since.
Every church across the globe would either be packed every day, every but at any given time for prayer. Looting would be at an all-time high. Stocking up on ammo wouldn't even be a debate. A lot of pregnancies, TikTok wouldn't even be a thing, and no one would be posting nearly as much. Influencers would be hunted, celebrity households would be ransacked with extreme prejudice, governments would collapse. Maybe it would be a heck of a ride when the year ended and everyone was still living.
Stifu. Every generation thought their time was the end of the world. Guess what? It didn't happen. Your time on this planet isn't any more special than Neanderthals thousands of years ago. This will be done and we will all act like nothing happened in a couple years. Life goes on.
Oh, those darn Mayans.
What do you think?
Pretty sure some would have offed themselves to not witness the end of the world.
They just switched 2 numbers. It should have been 2021.
Have you noticed that nobody really predicted what is happening now? Lotta more.
I don't think it is the end of the world. If we take it positively, we can do things right that we need to do before, otherwise, it will happen in future as well.
A lot.
However, what if 2012 was right but it didn't mean an end immediately, but one that is drawn out? I've been wondering if them down minds just like forgot to carry the one somewhere.
All the Karens and Susans.
The conspirators would be going crazy.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe and smack that bell icon to stay up to date on our videos. See you next time.